This is the Samsung KS9800. It is their flagship television for 2016, and I'll just get right to it. I think it's the best TV that Samsung has ever made. It does some really dazzling things, especially in the field of high dynamic range, or HDR. However, this TV does come with a rather serious caveat, which will affect your buying decision. We'll get to that in just a second. First, let's start with the design. Obviously, this is a curved television, and no, I'm afraid there is no flat version available. I like the look of the stand here. I'm not so much a fan of how much it juts out forward from the TV. If you are putting it on an entertainment stand like we have here, you might have a little trouble putting a soundbar in front of it. The back of the TV shares the same shearing design as the KS9500, only it's a lot thicker back here, and that's because of the full array of backlights that are employed. Which lets me segue nicely into picture quality. That full array of backlights is a core element to this television. Not only does that backlight system allow the TV to have a more uniform brightness and better overall black levels, but it also drives the HDR experience. And this is one of the brightest HDR capable televisions that you will find. Samsung says it can reach about 1,000 nits. Now, it's not going to do that all the time. That's pretty intensely bright, but it does add a lot of sparkle to spectral highlights. In fact, I would have to put the KS9800 just a little bit ahead of the comparably sized Sony X930D in terms of just how much punch and pop the HDR aspects have. At least in terms of brightness. In terms of black levels and shadow detail, I'd probably have to put the Sony ahead by just a smidge, but indeed it's a very, very fine line. Out-of-box color with this TV is pretty darn good, although if you're a super stickler for accuracy, you're going to want to hire a calibrator. Overall, I'd characterize the picture quality of this TV as excellent, but again, there are those caveats. I'm getting right to them. First though, let's talk about the smart TV interface. I think that Samsung has leapt forward in how user-friendly a TV can really be. As we've discussed before, you can plug in any number of components and the TV will automatically recognize them and allow you to control them through a very simple remote. Now, a lot of people like to have dedicated buttons, but I'd say that Samsung does a pretty good job of making the basic functions for most components readily accessible. I also like the fact that there's a lot of plug-and-play functionality going on here too. A lot of times you have to go into the settings and adjust things so that HDMI ARC or ARC works. With this TV, you just plug it in and it works. And that's kind of the experience that we've had with this TV in general. Plug it in and it works. All right, but let's get to those caveats I've been talking about. And really, it comes down to one major issue. Off-angle viewing with this television is not good. And frankly, it seems worse than other TVs that we've seen in the past, including from Samsung. But a lot of that has to do with just how bright this television gets. So, as we're going to show you here, when you sit right in front of the TV, and I do mean dead center, you're going to see that the picture quality is excellent. We've got nice deep blacks, not a whole lot of halo around bright objects on a dark screen, but step off to the side or even just stand up and the experience changes dramatically. You can see there's a lot of washout here. The backlights are readily apparent. You can even see some vertical banding here. So what does that do to my overall take on this TV? Well, I gotta say, this sort of TV seems to me like the sort that a really serious video enthusiast is going to purchase and sit right down in front of. He's gonna have the money spot and it's gonna look excellent. However, as a family TV, I feel like if you have a sectional couch or something where people are sitting off to the side, it's not gonna look great, and it doesn't take a trained eye to see it. But that doesn't necessarily mean someone's going to care. So if you're concerned about whether this is the right TV for you, it's simple. Go see it in the store. Stand off to the side and see what you think. Maybe it's not the deal breaker I'm making it out to be. Maybe it is. That choice is entirely yours.